Hi guys, and welcome back to episode number 49 of the Couch on Ice podcast. Let's just kick it off by throwing it right over to the boys. I'll throw it over to Chase first. What'd you get up to this weekend, Chase?
Oh, nothing too special at all, honestly. How about
No.
yourself?
Oh, just cried a little watching my team get absolutely decked by two teams. So that was fun.
I cried too for different reasons.
Yeah, I bet. Oh, I've never been so disappointed in my favorite team in any sport.
Nobody played.
I'll get into it when we talk about the games because I got a lot of colorful words to say. But I'll throw it over to Jordan. What'd you get up to this weekend other than dancing your fucking ass off the other night?
Yeah, just watching puck and putting all my ducks in a row.
Yeah, no, for sure. How's that going, by the way, with putting your ducks in a row? Are you starting to get it more figured out?
Yeah, where things are looking more like I'm going to be back early February. So
early February, so still about a 3-month timeline?
Yep, pretty much.
Nothing much changing then?
Yeah, instead of 3 months, more like 2.5. So
yeah. Okay, an extra week and a half, 2 weeks.
Yep.
hopefully the world will be a little bit better here by then, but
yeah, exactly.
Highly unlikely. So, well, let's get into some puck then. Let's just dive right into it. And since I already kind of hinted at what I'm going to talk about, not that it's a surprise, let's talk about the Penguins' first game and how we lost to an ECHL team. Or at least an AHL team, because the Ottawa Senators, who were missing 10 players from protocol and a couple from injury, there was one line Ottawa had on offense that wasn't an AHL line, and or maybe two. There might have been two lines that were genuinely NHL lines, and Pittsburgh lost 6-3. So you can understand.
Smith was
bad. Yeah, okay. So let's start it there. Let's start it with the goaltenders because that makes it easy.
Yeah.
First of all, this was one of the most depressing games I've ever seen in my life because Ottawa isn't great. They're going through massive roster issues, injuries, COVID protocol, all this stuff. And a former highly touted goalie prospect that was drafted by who other than the Pittsburgh Penguins is playing out of his skin for who else? The Ottawa Senators and Philip Gustafsson. He is outstanding. I think he's going to be such a good goalie. At worst case, I think he's going to be a 1A goalie. Maybe a 1B, but I don't see that happening. I think he's going to be a starter of a tandem. Like a Jack Campbell, what he is, I guess, kind of right now is what I predict from him. I like his game. He was so good and kept them in the game and got the win, frankly, for them.
He was very good.
Yeah, Casey DeSmith, oh my God. I've said it all summer, we need a better goalie, and I think people are finally starting to realize that's not Jari. Not that he had a great game last game, but DeSmith isn't that great. He has his moments where he's all right and makes some big saves, but he's let in like 4 goals in every game he's played this year. Every single game. You can't have that as a backup goalie. The Penguins don't trust him. Sullivan doesn't trust him. You can't roll one goalie all season. So they desperately need a backup goalie. Like Jordan said, he was bad.
Yeah, man, it blows me away. It blows me away they've kept this guy for as long as they have. They paid him that contract and they just got stuck with him or something. Like,
yeah,
had to make him their backup goalie. It was almost like the same thing that happened with Phoenix Copley there.
Yeah.
He just gave him that 1 year, $1 million contract, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh shit, now he has to be our goalie or something, or you send him to the AHL and he just makes more money than everybody else for no reason.
Well, and our AHL goalie isn't nowhere near good enough. Nowhere near good enough. Let's be serious.
The Pens are lucky enough to have the depth to make up for all these injuries.
Yeah, very much so. There's a couple guys I'm on this team that I see a lot from that I like. So I'm gonna start there because I don't want to be all negative because it's just gonna make me sad about these games. Like Oliver Joseph and Ricola, I see something there for both of those guys. I think Joseph could be a really solid puck moving defenseman, but his brain isn't there yet. Like he's close. He's probably a year or two away, but I like what I'm seeing so far, and he's only like 23-ish, so he's got a little bit more time. Ricola, he's got a really hard shot, and he works his bag off. It's just when he has a bad game, he's noticeable in the worst possible way in a defenseman. So I mean, it's what you get when having young defensemen. That's about it for the good for that game. Letang was not good at all. He tried to be a forward the whole time, and it cost us on the rush constantly. And we had no goalie to backstop. So that was the first bad in the defense. Offensively, this is Kapanen's the only one right now. And Bluger's line, because Bluger's line's always good, but Kapanen's the only top six forward right now I'm looking at where I'm like, you're the only one I don't hate right now. The way he's playing. He's playing well. He's playing very well. I want him to score more. He misses the net a lot, which kind of pisses me off, but can't get everything, I guess. So I'll just say that he is good.
Yeah, old Cappy's been looking.
Cappy's looked real solid, and
the
like
flow's been beauty.
Yeah, he's
just flowing out.
Gensel looks okay. I'm not worried about Gensel because Gensel has been a 20 goal scorer in every season he's played in the NHL, pretty much, I think, except for like his first season. So I'm not worried about him, and he's playing well. It's rough, but Russ,
clearly, like he's not.
He's just not
great.
He's on a cold snap. He's definitely on a cold snap, but
I guess he got that one goal against the Caps, but like
I think
man, you need Gensel to show up for when you don't have the big guys, especially the last little bit. I feel like he's
big time. Yeah. Over to Ottawa though, and then that was just a pathetic game by Pittsburgh. Like we were dominating them the first half of the game, and even when it was like 2-3-0, like after they got those quick goals, like we were still the better team. We almost came back late in the last 10 minutes. We were down 5-0 and scored 3 unanswered, and then they scored an empty net. But we did almost come back, which was nice. At least they didn't completely give up on an AHL team, but we still lost, so I got nothing else great to say about Pittsburgh in that game. Evan Rodriguez has a crazy good shot, and I want him to stay in the lineup, but definitely not in a top 6 role. That's about it. But Ottawa, Drake Batherson is outstanding. I really, really like Drake Batherson. I think he's going to be a great player. Shane Pinto got injured halfway through the game. It was one of the weirdest injuries I've ever seen. I don't know if you guys saw it, but it was a face-off, and his shoulder just popped out of place after the draw, and he skated off. So that's really unfortunate.
An injured shoulder.
Yeah, he just came back that game. It was his first game back.
Came back from that shoulder injury.
So that really sucks, and you could just see his arm dangling.
I've got information on that one.
Yeah, so we'll talk about that with your injury corner. So that was really weird to see. Lassie Thompson and Jacob Bernard-Docker are awesome. These guys are going to be really good defensemen for this team, and I think Ottawa needs these defensemen more than anyone to be playing well. Shabbat and Zub are fantastic. They're the only 2 veteran guys I trust in Ottawa. And their offense, they're always moving their feet. Always. They're always a pain in the ass. They're not better than you, but they're going to try and outwork you every single time. And yeah, Stützle scored his first of the year too, so that was kind of cool. He was a little invisible this year. He's kind of been invisible, but no, I don't know. Ottawa, they're not good. They're really not that great right now, but Pittsburgh was just so bad. Oh, I don't even know what else to say about it. Pittsburgh so bad in that game, and then we carried it over into Washington. And one thing I'll say, good. I'll talk about Washington a little bit first. Washington is incredible. They're so good. I was actually texting Chase during this game saying how good Washington was and how much of bums Pittsburgh were. But they are so fast. They're always laying the body. I've never seen Ovechkin look better than right now in my life. And he's 36. So that's impressive. Like, everyone, they've spread their lines out really weird to the point where I look at that and say, what in the hell are you doing? And then you watch the game and you're like, oh, that makes sense. Like, Garnet Hathaway was playing with Ovechkin. When is
lead sniper Garnet Hathaway?
Yeah, Garnet Hathaway in the past 2 games has had the most ice time he's ever had in his life in the NHL. Yeah, that was a stat they said. Like, and it was like 18 minutes. So that's crazy.
He is like a not as good Wilson-ish type of player.
He's a bottom 6 guy.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Right? That's all I was trying to get across.
Half of your team that you've been playing for the first start of the season. So
yeah, it's just because I just noticed it because they have a lot of top 6 options. Like, they probably have 3 lines of top 6 options to fill in. So it was weird that they put Garnet Hathaway, because that Hathaway, Dowd, and who else was on that 4th line, Jordan? Last year. That was really good. Dowd, Hathaway, and I can't remember. It was like Hagelin or something like that, or whatever.
Yeah, it might have been Hagelin. It might have been...
I can't even remember right now, but I know there was someone. But that line was so good, so it just surprised me.
It was kind of weird when they put Wilson with those guys way back in the day. But that ended up working so good. And then he just couldn't take it away. So.
Yeah, he's really good.
Yeah, no, they like balancing their lines, man. I've always just been in awe of this team in a sense, especially like lately their defense just blows me away.
It looks better than it's ever looked.
Yeah, they just really proved to me that I think I'm really right when
the introduction of Martin Faverly into that defensive line.
He was really good. He's really good,
right? And that's what you want from a young guy is confidence, because if you're not confident, you're gonna make errors. That's just how it goes.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, and they play such a simple game. Like, it's crazy. Like, nobody can do anything wrong because they don't do anything that's kind of insane. Everybody kind of pinches. Everybody. It's mind blowing. It really is. Like, what is everybody doing not playing defense like this more? Because you don't need 2, 3 super good defensemen.
I have an answer.
One John Carlson and a bunch of dudes that are like mediocrely as good as each other. Yeah, but really, it's just skating. Like, all these guys are very good skaters. They're very fast. Go ahead and do whatever you got to do, because you're fast enough to get back, because every time you get into the zone, everybody starts looking around with the puck, wondering where you're going to pass it. And that gives you that extra half a step or 2 to get right back in there. And when Nick Jensen can skate 49 miles an hour, like, he's going to get back, you know?
I got an answer why teams don't defend like this more. And this is going to sound like I'm taking a shot, but I'm not at Washington. Because you can't sustain that much energy game by game for 60 minutes straight. If you play we're fast enough to get back, the second you ease up, you're going to concede a goal or a big chance. And that's why, and playoff wise, and playoff
speed to get back. Like, that's
no,
not exactly what I meant, but like, I'm just saying
absolutely not.
Just because they are so fast, but it's just that they actually use their speed for good purposes instead of like, how many defensemen do you actually see skating around too much, you know, other than like your more eliter playmaker sort of guys that actually pinch in and activate and stuff like that. Like, that's what every single one of these defensemen do.
Yes, but in a way, Washington are in the same but most completely different way possible. They're the Islanders in the sense of they have to play a certain way or else they're screwed. Washington.
Yeah, that's kind of true.
And you can make that. I guess you can make that argument for every team, but I notice it a lot more with Washington, Islanders, teams like this who are so structure based. Like I said, if Washington decide if some of their players decide, I don't really feel like trying as hard tonight, they're probably going to lose because they need all their guys to play well. Unless it's like a couple of bottom six guys who are playing poor, like you can cover that up pretty easily. But if John Carlson decides, I'm not really going to back check today, Washington's not winning that game. If Nick Jensen decides that, right? And that's not, when it works so well. And we saw it against Pittsburgh. They ran us out of the building. They were faster. They were hit more. They were on the first puck all the time. We didn't want the puck. That's how you win. Like, first on the puck, you can win every time if you're first. And Washington does that well, but they do leave themselves very vulnerable.
Such a massive forward group, man. Like, everybody's just huge.
What I texted Chase yesterday was, this is the new Boston Bruins of the early 2010s type. Like, just running and gunning, hitting with, like, when they had Lucic. Like
Tom Wilson.
Tom Wilson is the new Lucic. Tom Wilson is a better Lucic than Lucic ever was.
I wonder who's going to get traded to, and then just
sign an $8 million deal with Edmonton to solve all their scoring problems and then be screwed for 10 more years. Yeah,
like, I absolutely agree. I like the direction of this team. I like the fact that we're giving these young guys, I mean, obviously injuries right now, but we're also giving these young guys like McMichael, Alexei Protas, Brett Leeson, like these.
Yeah, there's another guy that's like Fix something or other guy who I've somewhat seen.
Janssen,
that
Albie
guy.
Or whatever.
Yeah, he looked really good that game.
Yeah.
He didn't really. He didn't
play on the second line with Lars Eller.
He's a really skilled player. He's a lot more skilled than I've ever expected. That guy. So I was impressed that Connor McMichael is going to be so good. Like, he's just finding his
wrong. McMichael and Sherry is so exciting.
Yeah, I know. Half of them are Penguins, former Penguins. We won the cup with two of those guys. You guys have half Penguins too.
Hagelin.
Yeah, like, it was literally watching. I pretty much watched the entire 2017 roster that won the cup that night.
Yep.
Damn near, except for like Phil Kessel and like Nick Bonino.
Yep.
And Trevor Daley. So, no, this Capitals seems so good. If they can sustain this all year, the way they're playing, which I don't see why they won't, because they're arguably the best regular season team we've seen ever.
Well, we're still missing Oshie, Backstrom, and Mantha.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, just getting guys back soon. Like, it's
slouches.
Yeah, Nick Dowd's even gone right now. He'll be back soon,
which is like a huge miss, right? Like,
Nick Dowd's good.
The best fourth line center in the league.
He'd be up there for sure.
Up there. Yeah, I'd put up there.
I fully agree with that.
He's definitely stepped up.
I can't really think of anybody else, and honestly, I'll even give you another reason why I would agree with that, because I basically signed him on like most NHL games I've had for like the last 4 years.
I'm just thinking around the league, and there's not many others I can think of. Well, okay, there's one, and it's gonna sound biased but when Pittsburgh's healthy, it's probably Teddy Bluger.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Teddy Bluger.
Because of Jeff Carter's there. Like, it never used to be because he was the third line, and that line's still pretty much like Tampa's third line, used in the same way at least.
It's more of a saying, you know.
It's
the best fourth line center. He is, in a sense. Like,
for sure.
A nice group of those guys for sure. Like, Bozak's up in that piece.
Bozak. Yep, Bozak. A lot of these guys who were, except like Nick Dowd's probably the only one who wasn't like a third line center on like a cup winning team. Out of all these guys that we bring up, like, who are probably the best, they were all third liners on a cup contending team.
Yeah. No, one thing Washington does just so well is the actual line combinations, like we've been kind of bringing up. Like, they don't just like, we got to play all these young guys and just play them like 10 minutes or 2 minutes or 8 minutes on the fourth line or something. Like, they know what type of player this guy is, and they play him with players that work with that type of player. And that's just how they set their lineups up. And it doesn't matter who or what your name is. Whatever's going to work is what we're going to be playing. And they figure it out and they play it, you know. They don't just like, we'll try this sort of thing or something like that. Scared to make line changes or something like that. Like every game's a new game, you know, and they really,
for sure,
you know,
if you're in a slump, I think the best team you can play for in the NHL is the Washington Capitals as a forward and as a scorer for sure, because it is so easy to get out of that slump because you need to do two things to work on getting out of the slump, and nobody will be mad that you're not scoring if you continue to not. All you gotta do is skate and press. That's all you gotta do. You gotta pressure and skate your ass off if you're not scoring, and you're gonna get the scoring chances.
How many guys on this team score goals that are just right place, right time? You're absolutely
right.
A
lot. Lots of your guys' goals are front of the net, side of the net, pucks thrown,
insane, man.
Passed off, back corners, rebounds. Yeah, like watching that game, for most of it was in front of the net, close in front of the net. Most of your goals.
Yeah, man, like that.
From his spot, it's in front of the net.
Yeah.
Literally. Like I was watching the game that Tokarski was playing in, and like I just get so scared when he plays anybody that's just insanely good, because when you're insanely good, you go against goalies like this, you're just like, I'm scoring. Like this guy's not stopping me from scoring, sort of thing. Hey.
Yeah.
But that's not exactly what happened.
It was, you just see an empty net.
Yeah, exactly. Hey. And it was just tips and in front of the net goals and stuff, and it was just like, God damn it, they're just winning like they won the Stanley Cup. Like, you know, like, guys.
To explain how terrified goalies are of Ovechkin, Jari let in a goal, the second goal of the game, where Ovechkin wound up from the outside hash marks along the boards with a slap shot. And Jari was so out of position, ready for that slap shot, that he was allowed to slap pass it across the ice backdoor, and it was a tap in. Like, every day, Jari should be able to slide across and be close to making the save, if not saving it, right? I don't expect him to save it because backdoor passes are ridiculous. But he was so frozen by a fake slap shot outside hash marks. No player in the NHL should scare you from the outside hash marks. The Islanders are making a living by keeping people there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that just tells you how much goalies are like have to be dialed in for when Ovi's in the offensive zone.
Or just for any game.
From
any game.
Then.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. It was. I was screaming at my TV the whole time, honestly.
Yeah, no, like I've said it before, it's just insane what goalies have to go through. Like, you make one mistake and everybody sees it. Like, these guys that are playing the game, they make like 900 mistakes in a game.
Yeah,
and the fucking goalie makes one mistake and you'll never play in the league again or something like that. Almost sometimes.
Absolutely.
Like, holy shit!
In all sports, for sure.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I just want to finish off quick, but just this part, talking about these games, about saying I need to go on a rant with Pittsburgh and say why they sucked, because I was fairly nice for the first bit of it. I need to give them what they deserve. First, Brian Rust either needs to get his head out of his ass or he's not on this team next year, and he's going to play his way out of a contract. He has not made, and people are going to think I'm overreacting because he's in a slump. If you're on the, first of all, Penguins are 32nd on power play. Unacceptable when you have a team they do. I get they've had injuries. When Gensel's still on your first power play, you shouldn't be 32nd when Buffalo and Arizona are in the league. So that's one. Two, Brian Rust. And Seattle, yeah. There's a lot of teams. I just listed two bad teams. A lot of teams.
Really bad on the power play.
Yes.
Bad on
Vancouver are abysmal this year on the power play too, and they're not even last. So that's
Vegas hasn't fixed that.
Vegas has had a slow start too. Like I said the other episode, it took them like 12 games to get their first power play goal, and we're still in 32nd. Are you kidding me? Rust. Back to Rust. The fact he can't even make a tape-to-tape pass on the power play scares the living shit out of me, because we have let in, all of our shorthanded goals we've let in have been simple passes to Letang that were in his feet or off the side that he can't get, and 2-on-1s or whatever, and they score. Every time. It's been Crosby who's done it. It's been Letang. It's been Carter. All of these guys. Sharper passes. They're taught this in junior. It's unacceptable how they're passing right now. That's number 1. 2. This team forgets their defensemen half the time. They rush up and skate up and then don't back check. The thing Washington's so good at, Pittsburgh hasn't even been attempting lately. 2-on-1s all day. How are our goalies supposed to compete? Like, I feel like Toronto right now. And just throwing our goalie out like, hey, if you have a great game, we're going to win this. But if you don't, we're fucked. I got, like, Mike Matheson's looking pretty bad right now. He's in a big slump. There's really not many people I'm impressed with at all.
You guys have given up the 8th most goals in the league.
Yep. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So that's not good. But
one thing I'll say, Jari has been good throughout the year. He had a bad game last game, but he has been very good through the season. He's been the only one who's kept us in a lot of games. I won't shit on him.
They're right beside Chicago. Like, Chicago's looked fucking horrible, guys.
They've looked way better than
and they're right beside them in goals against. So that's not fun because Fleury's looked bag shit terrible.
Yep. Oh yeah, it's not looks good. This defense isn't looking good. I've never imagined Pittsburgh looking like this while we still have Crosby and Malkin. Like, I get they're not playing. Well, Crosby just came back, but like, I don't know. Oh, I got 2 more things. Sorry about Pittsburgh, and then I'm done. First, Evan Rodriguez, for what he did to Zach Sanford, I don't know if you saw it, but he put his stick under his thigh and pushed his feet from underneath him. That's disgraceful right there. That Zach Sanford could have had his career ruined if he landed on his leg wrong from his feet coming underneath him. So right there, Rodriguez, disgusting. I was super pissed about that because one thing watching Pittsburgh, we aren't a super dirty team unless Matt Cook was on the team. So I was really upset about that. And I figure I have to talk about what Crosby did to Feverly because it's big news and everyone's talking about. I've got 2 defenses for it. I've got 2 points to make with it. One, he was frustrated, and the NHL refs make it a point that they don't defend their superstars. However,
I'm probably extra penalties just because you're a superstar. Nothing.
I'm not upset because people who do that to people have done shit like that to Crosby, McDavid, and players like this all the time. And nobody cares because it's like, oh, they're the best player. How are you supposed to stop them? Not like that. That's so like I get him defending himself and he's super frustrated. But I would have at least a penalty. Maybe a game. I thought Feverly kind of like let himself fly a little bit out of it to try and get a call. Everyone made it seem like it was way worse than it was. It wasn't
really much of
wasn't that bad. I think he dove a tiny. He embellished.
Suspension is completely ridiculous. Like, no goddamn way.
I wouldn't be upset if they gave him a 1 game as a. Okay, come on, don't fucking do this. Way. But other than that, not a chance. A penalty. That's it for interference or roughing. Wherever you feel like calling in that day. But the refs have been abysmal this year for it, so. I can't even.
It was kind of behind the play, so
it was behind the play.
See it or what? Like,
I think me saying that the refs have been bad this year is more of a generalization of all refs throughout the whole league this year because it's been pretty
throughout time.
Yeah. Well, this year seems way worse than any. There's a lot of really bad calls.
I've heard everybody say that every year for the past like 10 years of my life.
But this is the first year I believe it myself. I've defended the refs pretty well for the most part of past years, and how the game's gone, because it's a fast game. It's very fast. You're gonna miss some calls. They are missing more now than ever, and because of the stuff that happened last year with Tim Peel saying I needed a makeup call, that's really made people sour, fans, because there's too much emotion in reffing sometimes, which it's kind of hard to disagree with. But I don't know, like, do you guys?
To me, it's just the severity of the calls, and they kind of screw around with it like that. And if it's a pansy ass call that they had to make, just because it is a call, they're just gonna make that pansy ass call when it happens the next time on the other team. It's not evening it up. It's just, I don't know. That's just how it's technically how you're just supposed to do it, in a sense. It's what seems right. It's why it continues to happen.
But the rules the rules seem to change by a game by game basis is the issue. That's the only problem I have. Pick a rule and be consistent. Don't decide
how many different refs, man. You ain't got the same refs at every game. I bet it does change every game because you got so many different refs and different situations in games and stuff like that.
But it shouldn't.
In this game,
that's the point I'm trying to make.
Slapping each other hardcore, being a little bit more intense, so you're letting that stuff go all game, and that's, I don't know. I just don't worry about it anymore because I find it's just ridiculous to talk about, honestly.
I feel like it doesn't get better unless you talk about it, in my mind. And like,
see how it would get better talking about them making bad calls. Like, I don't know. How does that help them, or how does that help anything?
Well, the reason I'm bringing this up is to kind of segue it into John Tortorella, so that's why I wanted to get your guys' opinions on it first. And we should probably talk about what John Tortorella said about Connor McDavid, and because we did last episode, and everyone's been crazy about it. If you guys didn't hear, I'll have Justice play the clip right now.
The play. What's the next step, though, to becoming a winning player, a playoff winning player? Because you're not going to get the calls you do in the regular season. He didn't last year, and that was a bit of an issue.
Yeah, and he complained about it a little bit. He wasn't getting the calls. I quite honestly, and I hope I say it correct, just shut up.
Yeah.
Don't talk about it. I do think he has to change his game a bit. Not turn into a checker, obviously. But
right.
He's talked about culture. He's talked about standard. He's talked about winning. You're not going to outscore. You're not just going to fill the net during playoffs and outscore teams. Mm-hmm. You have to play on the other side of the puck. You have to have that business type attitude of nothing's going to bother me, no matter how you're going to check me. Don't talk about it. Just play hard, play through it. But the other side of the puck is that important too, come playoff time. I think he's learning. Tip's going to have to get that whole group. If they're talking about a Stanley Cup, they're all going to have to play a little bit a different way, not just try to outscore a team.
All right, so that was John Tortorella saying for Connor McDavid to shut up and stop asking for calls, and that he believes Connor McDavid needs to change his game to win a cup. So let's talk about this. I'm going to throw it to Jordan first. How do you feel about Tortorella's comments? Do you agree, disagree? Why?
One thing I will say, I absolutely agree. Connor McDavid won't win a cup by just shelling the net.
Yeah, that's one point he's saying. Yeah, if you can't outscore your problems, that's fair.
I do agree that he needs to change his game, at least when it comes to the playoffs. It's been shown year in and year out, his game doesn't work in the playoffs. He gets eliminated. He's got to do something different.
Yeah, okay. Fair enough. I mean, I don't disagree. I don't necessarily completely agree because I think it's such a fine line with this. But Chase, what are your thoughts with what Tortorella said? Do you agree, disagree, and how come?
I don't really know how to say what I want to say because, like, not really.
He's not wrong, but he's not right. He's completely wrong in half of it, and he's completely wrong in the other half, in my eyes.
Yeah, like, what is he talking about when he says change your game? Is he talking about, like, an overall, if you think you're going to win a cup, you got to change your game? Which is what he's been saying and been trying to do, is what he's literally been saying the last year or two. McDavid been trying to do that. So,
yes, what he's saying...
actually saying here.
Well, here, I'll clarify what he's exactly saying. He says he needs to be better on the other side of the puck, defensively, not turn into a checker. This is completely his words. He's not trying to do what he tried to do with Patrick Laine.
How does that change anything of what the calls would be going on? Like, I don't understand. What Tortorella's saying makes no sense.
Okay. It's not necessarily of what correlation.
Like, yeah, you need to be better defensively to win a cup or something. Like, obviously. But
he's making two different points that don't tie together. Which
literally.
So my thought with it is, Tortorella, in telling the best player in the world to shut up, should not have said that. And the funniest part is, like you guys had just heard, him saying, I don't know if I'm going to say this right, just shut up. It's like, okay, well, he didn't say it right, clearly. Maybe should have taken another beat to, like, think about the right words to say there. You're on live TV, but I know he's a fiery coach, and we all love that about Torts, so you can't really be too upset. He's right and wrong in the sense McDavid shouldn't have to shut up if the calls are blatantly obvious, which they kind of have been lately. The amount of sticks that are in his feet happen probably 8 times a game. I'm not saying you should call 8 penalties a game, but majority of them, probably yes. Now back to his other comment that doesn't tie together with it. Does he need to change his game? I'm going to side with Jordan a little bit in the sense of yes, because the game's so different. Now, do I disagree that the game should be so different in the playoffs? Yeah, it shouldn't be the same, or it should be the same as a regular season for the most part. It shouldn't be. Montreal shouldn't have an advantage going into the playoffs if they are the worst regular season team. That makes no sense. But the game's not going to change. Let's just face it. The playoffs aren't going to change. It's still going to be very high-paced, high-hitting, low power plays. It's just how it is. It's how it's always been. You got to adjust. Crosby adjusted, right? These smaller players adjusted to the league. Patrick Kane. All these guys did. Is who are ragdoll.
Yeah, exactly.
You gotta adjust.
Before, I believe he needs to adjust. There's just, like I said, he's going a little too fast at times, or he's just got to find that balance to work with his team and bring his team along sometimes. And stuff like that. Like I've said, and like he said, he's been working on that the last year.
He has been. You've noticed
for Tortorella to say this, it makes no sense, especially in this situation, because this is about like just random blip calls that like maybe a ref didn't like see, like just caught it out of the corner of the eye and looks over and sees McDavid falling over behind the net, and he's like, well, what the fuck happened there? And maybe he caught his fucking foot on the net or something like that. Like, no, the guy actually did trip him. You missed it. Like, I don't know. Like, are we? Like, there are calls that should be made. I don't know what to say, man. It's not that big a deal. Obviously, he's getting frustrated over it, and there probably should be an extra 1 or 2 called. But yeah, like
I wouldn't say
Crosby too. They really.
It was worse with Crosby.
Favoritize anybody. Like
it was worse with Crosby than it's been with any other player ever.
Dude, it took like fucking 2 rounds of Johnny Gaudreau getting slashed in the fucking hand for the league to be like, okay, yeah, like obviously, like
it took Kucherov.
You guys aren't gonna stop. Like, you guys aren't gonna stop. We'll have to like literally like enforce this rule more, or just it's so weird.
It took Kucherov breaking his ribs in the most painful, awkward way possible that I thought was done in the league. I didn't think a player would break his ribs or anything from a cross check after the lockout, after the 05 lockout. I thought that was done. But
like the refs need to take control, man. Like I was a ref. You got to fucking call the right shit. Like you guys let this go. You guys as a group continue to let this go a little bit more. Have your relationships or some shit with your players on the ice.
Which is stupid. All the analysts saying you gotta massage the refs, you gotta be their friend. Fuck you! I gotta be their friend.
Shut the fuck up!
I'm at work. You're working. I should not have to, with another company, have to befriend him for him to do his damn job right. That's so wrong. So
if they
wrong.
went in there actually thinking like straight rule book for the last several years, like it would be a hell of a lot different, you know? Like the start of the whole crackdown, it was pretty insane. There was so many penalties, and then you could tell and you could see that it kind of got a little bit better. People played a little bit differently finally.
Players will adjust. Players will always adjust.
Later, the refs started being a little bit more lax, and it's not that we're getting back to it. It's just that now we have this half and half because the refs have been a little bit lax in some cases and at some points and stuff like that. So now we're not sure what to call anymore because we don't want to go back to the first time when we called like literally everything, because like these guys just seemingly don't learn. And like, I don't know, do you just get too into the game and you just start slapping your stick around a little bit too much and getting a little too intense in something? And
I can see that
these are all penalties. You can't keep fucking doing this stuff. Like, stop hitting them. Like the guy's hands compared to the actual where you would hit a guy's stick if you're doing a stick check or the puck is like 2-3 feet away. Like, how are you getting close to this guy in that sense? Your stick never goes up past your waist ever, unless you're standing there in the middle of the ice in your position or something like that, just gliding around waiting for a pass.
The puck hasn't been dropped yet.
But like exactly. Like when
it's the only time your stick should...
like, what are you doing with your stick anywhere higher than like
your waist?
Unless you're tipping, you're almost your knees.
Unless you're tipping a puck, celebrating a goal, or waiting for the puck to drop, you do not have your stick above your waist.
Yeah, like when you're attacking a guy, like it actually blows me away. It's what I love about Vegas so much, and when they came into the league, because they did not reach for a fucking thing. They skated. Nope. They took the extra step to get slightly further to be able to actually hit you in your stick in the right spot to get that puck off of your stick and clusterfuck the situation. That's all they wanted, was to clusterfuck the situation, steal your momentum and stuff like that. And it's just, people are reaching, people are still doing this crap. Like, grow the hell up, guys. Like, I don't understand what's difficult to understand, like, about these new rules. And it's not like the rules change. Like, it's literally the NHL is just coming out and being like, you guys actually have to do this now. Like, hey, the refs aren't just gonna fucking let this slide most of the time now. Like, that's what the whole cross-checking thing was it's just the NHL saying, guys, like, they're not letting this slide anymore. Like, actually stop doing this. Like, well, technically, we don't have to say this. It's in the rule book, and it has been.
It has been the whole time.
Around saying that, like, oh, it's not a big deal. I can cross-check my guys. How am I supposed to play the guys? It was a war between coaches, players, and
Shea Weber and Ryan Suter made a career out of a rule that wasn't called. And I love Shea Weber. I love Ryan Suter. But
like, did the NHL need to jump in and be like, you guys are doing something here because I'm noticing cross-checking's not being called, you know? Like, was that what the NHL was supposed to do 20 years ago or something? Like, or when they first implemented all that, I don't know. It's weird, man.
It's tough. It's a lose-lose with everything. No one's going to be satisfied. No one's going to be happy. Like I said, the reason I brought this up is because of the Tortorella McDavid stuff. And people are just... It's just certain calls that irritate me. It's the blatant trips or the play in the playoffs that everyone does when someone's skating as fast as they can and you can't catch them, so you grab their arm and you make them do like a spin, like a pirouette in the middle of the ice and lose momentum. Mm-hmm. The fact that those aren't penalties baffle me. It's small stuff like that obstruct the better players from being better players. Not in the playoffs. Playoffs are never really called unless the player like gives up and yells at the ref the whole time.
No.
If they've missed a few calls, they'll call it. But if they haven't, they'll say, I'll let it go. That shouldn't be the case. You should not be giving the best players in the league who have found ways to, I wouldn't say manipulate the system, because it's not manipulating, they're just better than everyone. They found ways to beat their opponent, and they're getting punished for it. That shouldn't be the case. Mm-hmm. We should be rewarding the best players for finding new ways to beat players.
Well, I do think a problem with the NHL is that we've changed these rules, and our coaches and our players haven't changed how they've done kind of what they're not fully, as in like adapted fully. Like, I'll take example of why I love the Capitals defense so much is because they're fit for this game. The game we play now, the way it's called now. Like, that's how you have a defense, you know. They're skating, they're doing that sort of stuff. We still got lots of defensemen in the league that are defensive stalwart, don't move standing there defensemen, right. You know, like they are not accustomed to the game, and they're gonna grab, they're gonna still cross check you and stuff like that. This is what they've lived off of. Like you said, those guys
their career
made a living off of doing this.
Yep.
From when they were a kid.
The Islanders are still playing hockey like it's the 80s. Well, maybe not the
exactly.
80s.
They're just not allowed to cross-check you and punch you in the face like they used to.
Exactly. That's it. Like, it's an old and boring topic because it's talked about so much, and I get that. But it needs to be tweaked a little. And like I said earlier, you should not have to befriend a ref to get the calls you deserve. Biggest issue. The human element in reffing is the best and worst part of every single sport. Because there's always going to be error, but sometimes you need that human aspect of life to look and say, I'm going to let this one go because of XYZ in this scenario, right? It's small stuff like that. That's the only factor, but shouldn't have to befriend a ref, and superstars shouldn't have to be at a disadvantage for being better and not getting the calls and having to defend themselves a lot more. Like McDavid, who has learned how to use his elbow a lot more in the past 2 years than I've ever even thought McDavid could use his elbow. Because the refs don't call it. So that's what's going to happen. Players take it into their own hands if the refs don't call it, and games get out of hand at times. But yeah,
those are the most exciting games, though. Intense and freaking out, punching each other in the face. They're mad at the refs.
Absolutely. But there's just some moments where it's like, if you just made that call, probably wouldn't have cross-checked that guy in the teeth. And
oh yeah, definitely.
It's just small stuff like that.
But like you miss it. Like, what do you do if you miss the call? You both miss the call, and then everybody gets mad about it. Like, fuck. Like, it's like that's reffing. That's
I know.
Shit end of the stick we have to deal with. So like I said, I try not to get worked up about it, but I definitely like the subject because I want them to change or not change. I want them to just actually like call more or less by
the rule
book, you know, like
that's all I have.
Very consistent, like we were just saying, like the whole
consistency
and stuff like that. Like,
yeah, the fact that Brad Marchand can lick people and doesn't get in trouble for it is kind of baffling.
The other thing is that, like, I don't understand why we don't use the eye in the sky for stuff like that. Like, it is a fast game, so like if you can,
refs should have
got tripped from a top view. Like,
refs should have an earpiece.
Push a button that says beep, or they have exactly
an earpiece
or something, and be like,
trip on number 20 on red,
trip on this team or whatever, and then yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So
Dylan Larkin tripped Connor McDavid. He needs to go box. You missed it. It was clear as day.
Yeah, like personally, I would like to take out one ref and put him in the sky.
Yep. I think that would be better.
What I would like, because like one, I already hate the fact that there's 4 refs skating. Or like I'd like
they get in the way
on the ice. Absolutely no refs. Not a linesman. Not a fucking person on that ice. I want to see this.
We know that won't happen.
Yeah, I know, but like how
because
awesome
of fighting,
to actually see a game where you don't have anybody interfering, as in refs or stuff like that.
It would just look like a game of shinny. It would look like a game of shinny is the issue. And
why?
Well, like the reason it'll never happen, like we said, is fighting. Because they need people out there, mitigators, to stop them.
But like you're saying, why would it look like shinny? It would just be...
Well, with no refs, no glass... How does that not look like shinny? It just looks like a practice.
I didn't say no glass. I meant like with full, like having the full glass and everything.
Oh, okay. But
all the way around.
It would look so weird not having the refs on the ice, though.
I'm not saying it wouldn't look good, but the game would be way
But that's
better.
why I'm saying it would look like shitty, as in like it would look like just guys put on. Hey, we all have the same jersey, or half of us have the same jersey. Let's go play a game of hockey.
Are you saying that sports can't be sports unless you see a ref?
No, not at all. I'm just saying that we're so accustomed that that would be such a big change that people would probably be blown away by just the sight of it. It was like last year when we saw no fans in the building, or 2 years ago or whatever, when Tampa won the first cup. How weird was that, watching an NHL game with no fans? Like, I never played high-level hockey. I cannot recall a single game where there was at least, like, 5 fans in the standings, or something like that. Or, like... So that was... So, like, it's something that would look weird, is all I'm trying to get across. A long-winded answer of me trying to say it would look fucking bizarre.
Oh, yeah, it would.
So, that's literally all I had to say about that. You guys ready to move off of the refs? I feel like we talked about them enough. Let's throw it to Anaheim to start, because I want to get this talked about before. Anaheim let go their GM Bob Murray for what would I say, behavior misconducts, I guess it was. In layman's terms, by a lot of people, this is not my words, this is what everyone who's worked with him has said. In layman terms, he's an asshole. Is basically what everyone's saying. He's very old school. He finds the best way to get the best work out of people is to treat them like shit, apparently. And the reason this is all coming out is because after the whole Chicago incident, the Pittsburgh incident off ice with the sexual assault, the NHL said to all 32 teams, look, if there's anything else, you come out with it right now, or we'll find it. And it's not going to be a slap on the wrist or anything. They basically gave him a warning saying this is your chance to come out with anything you've been covering up and deal with it now. Because we all know how big this shitstorm of Chicago has been, and it's still growing. Still a lot of bad stuff going on with that. But this was Anaheim saying we're not getting screwed in 10 years with a $2 million fine and our fans hating us and just doing the right thing. Not that hard. So they do. They put him on leave to do an investigation. The investigation came up that he did not handle situations well at all and was very verbally abusive to people that in the workforce. So what are your guys' thoughts that Anaheim doesn't have their long-standing GM, Bob Murray? I'm just going to quickly check and see when he started.
One thing I'll say is that I think this seems to be a big wake-up call for him. Following his retirement, he entered into an alcohol abuse program.
Yeah.
As well as made it quite a, in my mind, seemingly sincere apology to everybody who was affected by his behavior, and he vowed to make changes in his life, which is, quite frankly, the right thing to do. You know,
yeah, absolutely.
Say, you know, from here on, I'm gonna
start
be different.
To start, yeah, he Bob Murray joined the Anaheim Ducks in 2005 as vice president of hockey operations, and he grew into the role of the general manager of them. Never would have thought at this point of the season we would have to look at so many teams and go, oh, we should find a new general manager for this team.
Yeah.
No doubt.
It sounds like they're going to try and do it internally at the moment. At least probably for the remainder of the season makes the most sense, or at least half of the season, see where it goes. Is there any names? I know it's maybe not as well known for you guys, but is there any GMs available that you think might be a good fit for Anaheim? Or like there's obviously Jim Rutherford's out there.
Really.
There's
I don't really know any.
Yeah, I know. It's definitely not something all
I'm
hockey fans are very like known.
Yeah, what's the free agent list on G?
Free.
I'm not checking that very often. Wherever you
No.
find that. But yeah, no, this is mind blowing, man. Like I really talked this guy up. I love this guy. I thought he was like the greatest GM. How do you keep your job for like 20 years? But like, I guess, yeah, old school.
Yeah, old school is definitely being taken out. I actually just typed in who are some of the next wave of GMs. If I can find, these are coaches.
And Kyle Dubas after he gets fired.
Well, yeah, Kyle Dubas in 6 months. Yeah. There's some up-and-coming coaches.
Me.
Yeah. Exactly. There we go. Here we are. Coaches on the. I don't care about coaches. There it is. GMs. All right. There's some new GMs. There's the assistant manager in Boston, John Ferguson Jr. There's the assistant coach. Fergie. A lot of assistant coaches in Colorado, Montreal. They say Kevin Weeks can be a GM. Apparently, didn't know.
Yeah.
Who else?
Like anybody, like who? Like, yeah. What are your stipulations needed for?
Well, understandably, yeah, true. You probably need to have a hockey.
Probably need some sort of random whatever it would be.
I don't even know what you would need to be a GM. The job entails a lot. There really isn't much of a list, honestly. GMs are so behind the scenes anyways with this stuff that's not as important until they start making moves or off-season wise. It's the only thing that really matters with them. So do you guys have anything you want to bring up about Anaheim other than Troy Terry is just on an absolute tear in this?
Yeah, old trusty Terry.
Man, he is outstanding. Yeah, I believe he's 4th in the NHL in points. So he's definitely becoming a superstar in this league. I'm just trying to pull up his stats so I can tell you where he's. Yeah, he's 4th in scoring lead. He is sandwiched between Alex Ovechkin and Evgeny Kuznetsov right now with 20 points. Pretty good for a guy who's never had more than 20 points in the NHL, probably.
Yeah, he probably feels like he's in good company right now.
Yeah, no kidding. 11 goals. That's incredible. He's doing so good this year. So I just wanted to bring that up about Anaheim. I mean, he single-handedly rejuvenated Ryan Getzlaff's career. So, says enough, eh? About how he is. Let's move back to Washington for a second, because I forgot to bring this up while we were talking about him. Nick Dowd signs an extension with the Washington Capitals for a 3-year, $1.3 million AAV extension. It'll kick in at the start of next season. I know, Jordan, you were just talking about how much you like Nick Dowd.
Yeah,
and
I think what he offers, he is perfect for, right?
Yeah,
and obviously the price tag for it too sounds pretty good.
Yeah, definitely can't complain about paying him under $1.5 million for your team.
Yep.
As a mainstay on a roster,
reliable guy, right? The guy that you depend on typically. So
absolutely. So just wanted to get that point across before we get in. Let's throw it over to Chase. And Chase, you can talk about the Dallas Stars and the start of their season.
Yes, Little Stars. So I just wanted to talk about them a little bit just to not worry. I don't know. Everybody just don't worry about them. I don't think they're as bad. I wanted to talk about them last episode.
Well,
I think they actually won a game.
Can I cut you off for a second here? I'm gonna list a couple teams here, and I'll start it with Dallas as well. So I'm gonna say these are bubble teams who are either better or outplaying what they are, and you just tell me if they're safe for a playoff team or like not to worry and they'll be okay in the. Basically, do you think they'll make playoffs or not? We'll do it that way, and how much. So we'll start with Dallas. Like you just said, you think they're safe. You're not worried about this team at all?
No. Really, I guess I'll just spiel what I wanted to say about them. One thing I feel I've noticed over the years is that teams that can force you to go to OT are always good teams. Like I understand that there's probably more teams that can force you to OT than actual eventual playoff winners or playoff teams, sorry. But for example, I do believe this Dallas Stars are going to make the playoffs still, despite their record. 6 of the last 12 games, which I guess what was a few days ago. I guess they've won the game now. Gone to OT, so half their games went to OT. They're 4-2 in OT, third in the power play percentage at the a couple days ago. Their shooting percentage was only at like 7.3, which is like 29%.
That's bad.
So like obviously that's going to change. So expecting more goals to come. It did happen. They ended up playing the Flyers, kicked the shit out of them. So it looks like they're going to start scoring some goals now. So thank God for that. Like I'm saying, don't be worried about these guys.
Yeah.
No, they'll figure it out. They'll figure it out. Like,
yeah, there's an interesting stat for Dallas. I believe last night was their first ever regulation win against Philly.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, they blew them out. I don't want to be worried about this team because they were in the Stanley Cup Finals 2 years ago. Had last year, I would say, was a mulligan year. The reason I'm more worried this year about their playoff is I know this kind of just takes away what I just said about mulligan last year. Last year, they lost like 15 games in the playoffs. Or, sorry, in the overtime or shootout. And missed. Any team that loses that much, if that trend continues, where they're bad in overtime and not scoring, I will be worried. Because you can't go overtime that many times as a good team and not win them and expect to make playoffs. Like, I know they're close, but it's because they are a really boring team. They don't score a lot, but they don't let in a lot. I
think we'll see a little bit of a difference now. You know, like I think they're going to start scoring a little bit more than they have been because they just haven't been able to score like almost at all.
Yeah, at all. And that's why I'm worried. And obviously, I think their scoring is going to go up because I don't think it's possible to go down really. But I don't know. I'm wondering if I should have flipped Dallas and St. Louis from my predictions in the sense of I looked at St. Louis and said, I don't know if this team has an identity or if they're the real deal or any of this. Yeah. I wonder if it's the other way around and it's Dallas that it doesn't know what their identity is, that should be better.
Dallas and St. Louis along, like, not even 10 games in, I was like, oh shit, yeah, Dallas isn't gonna be.
No,
I thought Dallas was gonna have a very strong season, and it just doesn't look like they're gonna have a full strong season. I don't think they
for sure
miss the playoffs or anything like that. But yeah, I got right after a few games, I was like, holy shit, yeah, this St. Louis team is.
Well, I'm pretty sure I had St. Louis missing, so I have Dallas probably missing. This division's hard, like so good.
Yeah,
Colorado,
now for me.
Colorado, St. Louis, Winnipeg, and Minnesota for me, I think are going to be a playoff team. I'm willing to be safe in that. And then it's between Dallas and Nashville again. Same as last year. I can't believe I have Nashville even fighting for a playoff spot, but they're playing such good hockey right now. And Roman Josi is the best defenseman in the league today. Right now.
Yeah.
Like, he's been so good the past few weeks. But I just look at Dallas, and I'm like, I don't hate their team, but I don't love their team. I wonder if there's a coaching change in order. This is a good team that should be better. And that's where I'm worried, is they should be better than this. Way better than this.
Yeah, I'm telling you not to worry.
but I am, because this is I'm kind of having them not quite in the same place, because Vancouver is like really in a hole, but I think their coaching thing in the same situation. That's the next team I'm going to bring it up to. But I look at their coaching situation where I don't think they have a bad coach, but sometimes just a change of coaching helps for whatever reason. It gets the players to shake their head and go, oh, fuck, this is serious.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I'm not going to lie.
And I don't want to vote for people to lose their jobs, but...
I can't really say the same thing about Vancouver. Like, that's the shitty thing. Like, I believe
don't like him?
I can't say the same thing about Vancouver, the way they're playing. Like,
are you saying you don't believe in them? Or I was just saying is they have both good coaches that are probably going to get fired. That was the comparison I was trying to make. Not necessarily team.
Yeah, no, I understand that. No,
okay,
I understand that. And I'm just saying that, like, I can't say the same thing I said about Dallas that I did about Vancouver, because they're kind of in the same sort of situation. Just
both can't score.
Too well.
Both can't score 5-on-5. So,
but yeah, I can't put the Canucks in the same spot because none of their stats look good. Absolutely none of their stats look good.
I'll get into them in a second. So
they won 8 of the 14 games they played have been 1-goal games. So that's one thing I like about it. They just haven't pushed them to OT or anything like that, which is, I guess, not the worst. But all those 1-goal games were 2 against the Oilers, 2 against the Flyers, and then Rangers, Ducks, Preds, and Wild. So kind of some middling but decent teams that they're losing 1-goal games against. But yeah, all of their stats are just bad. So I don't know. I'm gonna have to see them. Like, I've seen a little bit out of Dallas. I think they'll be fine, but I'm gonna have to see a lot out of Vancouver the next couple weeks.
Yes, we are.
To really get anybody confident about them, because I'm sure nobody's really too confident about what's going on.
Not right now. Jordan, what are your thoughts on Dallas? Are you confident? Are you worried? Do you think they're going to squeeze into playoffs? Like, where are you sitting right now?
I'm kind of in the middle with this one. I'm on the fence. I like things I see, and I absolutely do agree with Chase, especially with the overtime comment, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes getting at least a point is
absolutely
the difference.
No, for sure. And I love that. I love teams that force overtime. But when last year is very sour for Dallas for me. Sour Dallas in the sense of I know they had the injuries, and without them they would have beat Nashville in. When you have 15 or something overtime losses and you miss by a point, do you know how many little easy things could have went right for you to make playoffs and you just couldn't get it done?
Yeah. And
this isn't a team where I'm like, oh, well, they'll figure it out. They'll get their scoring touch. Have they ever really, other than Tyler Seguin and Rupe last year, has anyone on this team ever really like been a dynamo offensively since Jamie Benn, like, when did he win the Art Ross? 2013, 14? They've had their times, but it's not today. It's not today is the point I'm trying to make. They don't score the same.
They don't need to be excellent scoring.
But they need to be better. They need to be way better.
Well, obviously.
Way better, though.
And I'm saying they will be. Just calm yourself.
I'm not like panicking in the sense that this team's going to be last.
Yeah, no doubt, Jordan. But their goaltending's actually like having that many options. I hear Bishop's almost.
Yeah, he should be back soon.
Doing stuff.
It's just I don't think this team is the same team I thought they were at the start of the year. I thought them as more of a, this is a year they're going to bounce back and be a, maybe not quite a cup contender, but a playoff contender. I don't know if I can count them as a playoff contender in my head anymore. I think teams are better than them that I would put way ahead of them and will continue to be better. I thought, like St. Louis, I said already, I thought they were going to be I thought Dallas was going to be way better than St. Louis this year. Now, not a chance. Not a chance. I don't think that, because St. Louis is so good.
Yeah, I kind of agree. I didn't think they were going to be way better, but I did think Dallas would end up further in the standings. But yeah, like I said earlier, I
thought they'd be comfortably better than St. Louis by like 5 points.
Yeah.
I don't think that's that crazy to say.
Yeah.
And now I think it's for sure at least the other way around with 5 points. And it might be upwards of like 10, 9, 8 points of St. Louis, which is a big gap for
at least
for playoff teams. For playoff contending teams, that's a huge gap. So let's.
I'd put Dallas in my wild card position now. Is probably what I'd do, and
I'd put them as my last wild card, maybe. Yeah, I'd probably put them as my last wild card.
Because that's where I had St. Louis with my last wild card. Probably wait like another 20 game or till the 20 game mark or 25 game mark to actually do a full change on my standings and stuff like that.
It's still very early, but we do gotta talk about what's already happened. We can't talk about what's gonna happen in 2 weeks, right? So, next team, Vancouver. We have already kind of talked about them. I'm gonna throw over to Jordan first. This team is really struggling. Do you think they'll be able to turn their season around and be a playoff team? Jordan?
No. That's tough for me because obviously this Vancouver team is talented, right?
Extremely talented. This has probably got to be one on paper of one of the most talented teams out there.
Yeah, at least since their last visit to the finals, right, against Boston. I'm
even just comparing them to every NHL team, and on paper they're more talented individually than a lot of teams.
But I will say I don't think Thatcher Demko can bail them out enough. I think he'll bail them out a lot, but enough, I don't know.
I love that you bring that up because I agree in the sense of I think he's going to bail them out, but look at their stats now with how good he's played. He has been a top 3 goalie in the league this year. Probably him, Gibson, and Markstrom. It was probably funny enough all in the same division. They're probably the 3. I mean, Elvis has been extremely good this year too, Merzlikins, but those are probably 3 of the best goalies, and Demko's team is 7th in the Pacific.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they could turn this around in a way that they hope.
Yeah, I think a big internal change needs to happen.
I think Travis Green will be fired.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily think that's the greatest move and the smartest, but I don't disagree with it.
Yeah, I don't think it's the best move, but at the same time, I understand they're in a position where they need to make any kind of move.
Yeah,
whether it's lateral or whatever.
It would make sense for them to fire him, but I think the team that would be happiest about that is the team who gets Green next, because I think Green is a very good coach.
Yeah.
I think it's just not working. His voice isn't working in Vancouver anymore. And that happens. Like, some of the best coaches ever, this happens to, where their voice just doesn't carry the same weight it did. And you just gotta get a change of voice, a change of maybe your system changes a tiny bit, and team needs to buy in. The team's not buying in right now. And I don't know another way they can get out of this. Chase, do you? Any idea how?
Have to pick away. Have to pick away slowly, man. Like I said, I'm not giving up on them yet.
If you were in charge of this team, would you make a trade? A, make a trade. B, fire Travis Green. C, fire Jim Benning. Or D, wait.
Probably wait, man.
Okay.
I would probably wait just a little. Yeah, like 30 games.
30 games you would wait? Okay.
25 to 30 would be my
and
dropping time.
Out of those, okay, so let's say 30 games you're giving yourself. I'm going to ask you both this. You guys have 30 games, so you have to make a decision of one of those 3. What is a number that would make you think that I can't believe when we thought about making a trade or firing anyone? Like, how many wins out of those 30 would Vancouver have to get for you to be, okay, I trust everyone who's in the position they're in now enough to keep the team intact?
They're at 5 wins right now, and
5 out of 16.
14 games to go to play. That many, hey? Like,
I'd say it'd have to be between 15 to 20. I'd have to be quite confident.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be like 12, 15 at least.
At least. It's a very high toll to ask, is what I just was curious.
That's like 10 in like the next 50 14 games, like 10 wins or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. So that's just, I just was curious of how it's clearly not far off from one of these guys being gone, from someone on this team. And the one that looks like the most obvious choice is Green. His deal's up at the end of the year, and this isn't a bad team playing under what even they thought. This is supposed to be a good team. That's what makes it so hard to swallow. I put Vancouver third.
Well, after their off season, absolutely.
They had a good off season. They got everyone signed. And one thing I gotta say one good thing about them quick. For all the analysts out there and podcasters I'm hearing saying, "Oh, OEL's awful. I can't believe they made that awful trade. Why would you do this? They're so stupid, Jim Benning." He is definitely not the problem. OEL and Garland have probably been two of Vancouver's better players this season.
Yeah, exactly.
So either you have not been watching Vancouver at all, and you just read stats, and that's the problem with advanced analytics. They can make a good player seem like absolute dog dick if the team isn't playing well, which makes no sense. So I just wanted to point that out. I think that wasn't as bad of a trade everyone makes it out to be. I think it was actually better.
Yeah, I think they got still some positivity, like you got, like I said, you have like a whole bunch of 1-goal games at least. You got 8 1-goal games, like some sort of positivity here. You just got to flip the script here.
However, Demko has been outstanding in all of them. So it's probably been a lot of him. Just a little tidbit to throw out there that after I just show one more thing on Vancouver and we'll move on. Tucker Poolman was suspended 2 games for hitting who he hit in the head with his stick. I'm sorry, I'm blanking. I didn't write who it was. He swung his stick kind of in a follow-through motion. Looked like it was somewhat intentional, I guess, but anyways, their best right-handed defenseman is now suspended for 2 games. So just wanted to point that out there. Do you guys have any other notes you want to talk about Vancouver? Or shall I move on to the next team?
No, I don't think I have anything.
Okay. I got one more team in the West, and then I'm going to move up into the East here. The Anaheim Ducks, who are 9-4-3, second in the Pacific with 21 points. 7-game win streak. Troy Terry, 14-game goal streak. Do you guys see the Anaheim Ducks sustaining this for a playoff berth? Chase. No.
I talked about them quite a bit over the last quite a few episodes, so I'm just going to say basically no. It's just not going to happen.
Oh, okay, then just give one reason why you don't believe in this team in playoff reasons.
They're not good enough. Everybody's going to play better, and they're going to get shut down. Young guys being inconsistent because they're young. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, sure. Just
not probably good. Their defensemen will get hurt. Like, I don't know.
They do every year, yeah.
Like, so yeah, no, like I love seeing this and stuff like that, but like, start of the year, a lot of these guys like to look good. You got to get those wins off the start, man, because once the game gets harder as it goes on, like the rest of the season is not fun for these teams that had almost no playoff aspirations off the start of the year.
Yeah. No, fair enough. Jordan, what are your thoughts on the Ducks? Do you have any more faith in them than Chase does in being a playoff team?
Yeah.
Okay. Is this a yes, they're going to make playoffs, or they're going to be close?
A bit of both. I think the big thing is just
if you were a betting man and put $500 on it, what would you take? The over to make playoffs or the under?
I'd bet the make.
Bet to make. Okay. That's a lot of money to bet on an Anaheim team.
Yeah.
So why is it? Why is it that you bet on this Anaheim team? I don't disagree with you.
The
but
big thing for me is that a lot of the players on this team want to make playoffs. Most importantly, Gibson. And he's playing like it, right? So I don't see why, if they're already in a good position or a good-ish position coming to the deadline, I don't see why they wouldn't make a move that could give them that push.
Okay, yeah, fair. I'm gonna agree with you. I'm so glad you brought John Gibson because he is so good. He's dialed in right now. And the players, the young players they have, I have a lot more faith in for some reason than I have in many other teams. This seems like just a team that's really young and going to overperform this year for no reason other than they just all broke out at the same time or they all popped off at the same time. And John Gibson's going to steal so many games. I don't hate their defense. I don't agree with making a move at the deadline because I think they're way too early to do that, even if they are in the hunt by around that time. I wouldn't say they should sell, but I don't think they should buy. Because
right, you never know what's on the market at the deadline.
They're very close. I think they're going to be right outside the playoffs. For me, it's between Anaheim, Dallas, Nashville, and LA to make that last wildcard spot. Unless Vancouver can somehow turn it around. I'm not completely giving up on Vancouver, but right now I am. Until they win a couple games in a row and start climbing a bit more, I'm going to pretend they're not even in the hunt. I don't know. They're right there. I don't see why they couldn't with how poor this Pacific is. I know Calgary, Edmonton, and Vegas are so good, but some of the Central teams aren't as good as we suspected them to be. And I think Nashville's going to come down to earth at some point here. So if I'm betting, I'm going to say yes. I think Anaheim's going to make it. I think Troy Terry is playing such good hockey. Trevor Zegras is starting to put the puck in the net right now. The past few games, he's been doing really well. Mason McTavish is playing well. I don't think he'll be here all year, but Jamie Drysdale's getting better and better and better as we go on. So, and like you said, John Gibson. That's all I gotta say. That's it. John Gibson, who's sick. Love John Gibson. So
yeah, he's definitely going to be starting for the States team, I would think. Like, my God.
I want to say yes, but it's so hard to say no to Hellebuck. So hard. Like, there's two goalies in the world that I pick over Gibson, and Hellebuck's one is the issue, right? And they're on the same team. I'm not saying Gibson won't play and won't steal the net. He can do it, and I won't be surprised. It's just hard to not give that confidence to Hellebuck when he's shown it for a couple of years now of how good he is. So, but I don't disagree with you by any means. Now let's move to the East and let's talk about some team that we kind of talked about last week. Let's talk about the Islanders. They are in 8th in the Metro, last. They are exactly 500 in the league, 5-5-2 with 12 points, 3-game losing streak. Cannot score to save their life right now. How are you guys feeling about the Islanders this season? Chase.
I don't feel too bad. I haven't watched too many of these games, honestly.
The issue I'm seeing is they look like blowouts, some of the games. They're not as bad as some of the score lines have shown. Sorokin has been amazing. They can't score. Kyle Palmieri, I'm pretty sure, has 0 goals, as well as Zach Parise. Zach Parise has 0 goals, but like, it's Zach Parise. I didn't really expect him to get anything more than like 8 goals, 10 goals this year.
But he expects himself to be.
He expects himself to be
with Barzal.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He does. He's not that anymore, unfortunately. He has 3 points in 12 games, and Kyle Palmieri has 5 assists and no goals. So
yeah, like the only guy I can really point out is that like Pulak's clearly not going to be the guy we hoped or anybody hoped that he would become, because with Letty out, there was some thought and some hope towards him stepping up and taking that offensive role a little bit, and that's not happened whatsoever. Dobson's hardly even done anything. He's only got 3 assists, and Pulak's only got 2 assists. I don't even know if they've got any points in the last so many games. Yeah, no,
probably not.
Pulak, nothing. I'm pretty sure Dobson got his points near the start of the year.
Yep, I believe so.
Yeah, no, nothing that shows. Yeah, first 5 games or something, those guys got points. So like, it's just not good. The one good thing I like to say is that Oliver Wahlstrom has 5 goals here. So like,
yeah, that's not bad for an Islanders
could create
team.
real offense, then maybe he could get an assist and maybe they'd get a few more points. But I don't see anything wrong with it. Like I've said from the start, even before the season, like I don't like their defense. I don't like that they just have Chara as their fix for their defense.
I don't love it either. And I have a name out there for you guys for this is defense, which we'll dive deeper into after this little segment here. What about Sam Girard? And everyone's like, oh, that doesn't make sense. Why would that make sense? He's not the same. He's He's a better Nick Leddy. Mm-hmm. He brings exactly what you're missing from Nick Leddy. Power play quarterback. He gets a quarterback, a power play then. A number 1.
So what happened with Comrov's contract there? Do you see that? Or
I did. I have that down.
He just took off, eh?
He just said he doesn't want to be in the NHL anymore and he wants to go back to Russia. So he signed a deal with the KHL team and he's gone.
Now his contract's just not there anymore.
I don't know what happens to that contract. Honestly, I have zero clue what happens when.
Pretty sure it was in like the
it probably just gets sent down, I'd imagine, and it's buried.
It's not there.
I don't know what happens.
Have been voided or disappeared or something weird.
I wonder if it's something like similar to what happens if you go on the IR, or LTIR, sorry, and it just becomes dead cap or not necessarily dead cap, but just
because it's
unused
like the
cap for now.
It's not like
right. The team shouldn't be punished. No, so the team shouldn't be punished for it. So I don't know what's going on there. I just know he signed in the KHL and just said, "I'm out, peace."
A little bit of money.
Probably, yeah. So, well, exactly. It saved him a little bit. I don't know how much that does because I'm pretty sure they're like right up on today's cap hit. They have $77 million spent today, with no one on the IR. So yeah, they do have some money. They've got like $4 million to spend.
Yeah. No, like I said from the start of the season, they need to get a defenseman, and Charo is not the defenseman I was talking about.
No. Now, do you have faith that they're going to make playoffs? Because this was definitely a question mark team coming in, being of how hard the Metro is. The style they play isn't regular season friendly. Typically, they've always been kind of a lower end regular season team to make playoffs, but once they get in, you have no worries. Do you think they're getting in?
Yeah, I do. I still think they're getting in. I'm not really changing much on my playoff whatever predictions. I still have them in like the last wild card. I knew it was going to be rough. It was going to be tough from the start. You had like a 12-13 game road trip to wait for your building to get up. So
16 or 17 game away streak. Yeah.
You've gone like 5-5-2 this whole time. So I think you're doing completely fine with that.
Yep.
Yeah, no, it's only one more game on the road and they get to play Calgary for the first time on this weekend at home. So yeah, I'm not that worried about this team at all. I think they'll find their way. Like I said, they've done what I thought they needed to do in this first opening road trip. So I think they're fit as a fiddle. Just doesn't look good.
Fair enough. Jordan, what are your thoughts on the Islanders? Do you have faith in this team?
Unfortunately, yes.
Ooh, okay.
I mean, we've all seen the Islanders play their game and just grind their way.
Yeah, every time we've counted them out, they've been better than we ever could have imagined.
As much as I don't want to say it, for once, I'm actually gonna say, yeah, I think they'll be all right.
Interesting. All right. I'm looking at this Islanders team, and I want to maybe devil's advocate. I'm gonna say no. I'm having them miss. I'm saying it now. I think this Islanders team is gonna miss for no other reason than one, they can't score. They've never been able to score. That's not a new problem. And like Chase said, their defense looks so lost without a power play quarterback. They don't have anyone to hold the offensive load defensively. So there's the issue. No one to create. And then nobody's putting the puck in the net. Kyle Palmieri cannot be 12 games in without a goal and making $5 million.
Yeah.
Like that, for a team constructed the way they are, it's unacceptable for him to not have at least 2 goals. And that's not very many for 12 games for a goal scorer like Palmieri. Palmieri is a 20 goal scorer for most of his life, if not all
these
of it.
guys are on pace for what they would probably get in like 40 to 50 points. Like the only guys that are gonna hit,
I think Kyle Palmieri is on like a 20-some point pace right now.
5 assists in 12 games. That's like basically 40 points. But yeah, no, like Brock Nelson's been the shining star for this team. That's the one guy that I've noticed, obviously, with 7 goals, 2 assists. But yeah, like they're not getting mad points, but they never ever did even before that. Like I don't expect any of these guys to get more than 50 points. So
yeah, no,
they're
absolutely
not really that far off on those sort of projections.
And I get that they've never been a scoring team, so why should that be an issue now? And it's because they've taken a step back defensively too. Like, they barely made playoffs with the team they've constructed before, and now they have lost a top 6 forward and a top 4 defenseman the same offseason.
Yeah, but I think they'll pull
for
the
a French
trigger
team.
They'll back at all.
They'll make a trade.
100% pull the trigger on Samuel Girard or something like that. But
they'll make a deal. I believe that full-heartedly that they'll do something. But I also look at. So that's one reason why is the offense and the defense taking a step back, and their offense has never been good. I also look at this Metro, and the Rangers look like they're going to be pretty legit. So far they are, at least. They're a very good offensive team, and it's been very hard to stop them. Washington and Carolina, I'm already willing to put them in pen for playoffs. I mean, Carolina's played 13 games and they're in first still when most have played 14 or 15. And I think, I don't know. They're so close. It's going to be so close, but I just think they're going to miss. I think they're missing too much from their squad.
I'm definitely worried about it because of the Rangers. Like the Rangers
are the reason.
The fact that they're playing so good worries me about the Islanders' chance to make the playoffs, even Pittsburgh for that matter.
Yeah, once Pittsburgh gets their guys back, they can go on a run. I'm not writing them out yet because I can't. It's 14 games in, but I'm close. I'm close from writing the Penguins out this year. And that's not just me being a bitter fan because we've lost 2 games in a row or whatever. They're just not playing the way they usually play. Their identity's kind of missing the past couple of weeks, so. But the Islanders, there's like this thing we keep bringing up all year we've been bringing up in the podcast is every team is better. Every team is better. It's so hard. Except Arizona, exactly.
They might be the worst team in NHL history.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. They have, what is their, Yeah, they have a 0.1. They're a 100 points percentage. A 100. That's unheard of. But no, the Isles just... I don't know. I don't trust this team anymore. They've never been a great regular season team, and they've squeezed in by the skin of their ass. I don't think they can do it this year. I genuinely don't.
I think the power of Beauvillier will bring them there to the top of the mountain. That guy's fucking
I
on
love
fire.
Beauvillier, but I just don't see it. I don't see this team squeezing a playoff spot out of anyone.
So hard. I was just struggling putting them in. I wanted to take them out of the playoffs before the start of the season so bad. I wanted to put Flyers in there because I had like random hopes at this before that, like, man, Flyers are going to be first in this division, and I was like, no, this ain't going to happen.
Flyers, I could grab a coin.
Islanders are gonna take it. Fuck you, Philly.
For the rest of the season, you could take a coin on each of Philly's games and flip a coin and say whether they're gonna win or not. And like that's what they are. They're just a coin flip. The team, whether they're gonna win. That's how you bet on this team. Just flip a coin with Philly, and maybe you'll win. So there's a couple teams in the Metro that I see them squeezing over, but I just think it's too good now. The Rangers are the reason. They're the team that I was like, Kate, if they do really good, one of these big teams is missing big time. And it looks like
like I saw this team doing good, the old Rangers, but they're doing.
I didn't think they were
a bit better than I maybe kind of thought.
They're doing better than I thought they would be.
They're doing a little bit better than I thought they would be. Like, this is just obviously 15 games, but
still early.
It's just looked a lot better than I thought.
Shesterkin looks awesome. He looks settled in there, which is really
kind of
nice.
Like Washington, like I thought they'd be good, but like they've really come up
way better. That was honestly
Carolina,
this whole Metro.
I thought they'd be good, but like I didn't think
not
they'd be
this
the best
good
team in the league for the first 13 games of the regular season.
Exactly right. So, let's move on to what we talked about. Let's talk about the other New York team. What are your guys' thoughts on them making playoffs? This will be the last team we bring up. So, do you think... Sorry, I'll bring up one other team after, but do you think the Rangers are a playoff team? Jordan. I'll throw it to Jordan first.
Fully healthy. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, we don't have to take like too long on the Rangers. I just want to like see what you guys' thoughts are.
Healthy, for sure.
For sure. Yeah, fair enough. Chase, are you really confident that this team will make playoffs? Maybe not really confident, but are you?
I'm not going there yet. Like I said, like that's as good as I can say about what I said previous there. Is that like I expected them to be good. I think they are good.
They've been better.
I believe that Shesterkin can like stand on his head some games. I believe your offense will win you games sometimes. You got gross power play. You're probably like second and scariest power play to Edmonton, or within that group of next
up there
power plays.
Tampa's still here too healthy, but
like the defense is young, but
I don't love the defense.
Surprised me. That's what surprised me. I think that's the only thing and why they look so good is because the defense is doing a little bit better than I expected them to do.
Yes, absolutely.
I'm just gonna say I don't fully believe it because I don't fully believe their defense will be that consistent all year.
Okay,
that's where I'm going with it because I don't know.
Yeah,
if they play anything like this consistently through the rest of the year, they're gonna be in third. Like they're not moving anywhere. They're gonna be in
maybe second. Maybe squeeze in a second place, but no.
Like they have mad money. What are you guys doing? Trade for somebody, hey? Like make the playoffs for no reason one year just to give these young guys a push. And
I wonder if they do that with
rebuild.
I wonder if they go out and get a D-man.
Go nuts this year. You have a ridiculous amount of cap room. You've got way too young of players anyway, so it's not like you have to win the Stanley Cup next year or the year after. Like
those
aren't that important years. If you can give a good push, get these guys in the playoffs, and
I wonder if they get
games under their belt.
I wonder if they get a couple guys like a Sherratt, like someone like that, to help defensively to come in.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt.
Or call Seattle.
But like, you should almost, like, just talking about it now, we should almost all say that they're going to make the playoffs because they can simply do that. Like, there's one team literally out of all that can, like, I will just take on this guy. Like, I have $7 million. I got lots of money sitting here this year. You know, may not have it next year, but they can easily take on whoever they want to this year. So
for sure,
they should do that as soon as possible in all reality, and they will make the playoffs. I don't see why they wouldn't. But for the growth of the team, you want to do it. That's the question.
If you're betting, if you're betting money, do you bet them in the playoffs? Right now, if I gave you a $500 bet,
good odds,
yes or no?
Yeah. Like if they had still like bad odds, like say the Rangers odds were like 5th or 6th in this division, like underneath Carolina, Washington, Pittsburgh, and the Islanders. If they were the 5th team with the odds to make I'd probably bet because you might make something off it, but where they are right now and to bet them making the playoffs where they are, there would be no point of doing it because you wouldn't make much if you did it.
Nope, fair enough.
And like I said, just not super confident in
it
for sure. But
no, and I don't think you have the right to be. It's been, like we said, it's been 15 games. They've been great for most of those games, but there's still lots of hockey left. I was just curious what you guys thought. I got one more team to bring up. A team that's, I wouldn't say is doing bad by any means, but you expect probably a little bit more in the Atlantic, the Boston Bruins. Chase, I'll let you start it off. What are your thoughts on how the Bruins are starting? They're 8-5 with 16 points. They're on a 2-game win streak. Lost their second line center this year. How do you think they'll fare?
I think they're faring pretty good off the old start. The one thing that actually it's kind of weird that they're really getting the puck luck. Like Charlie Coyle, seemingly whatever he does, it seems to go right for him. Like
I know. Yet another player I shit on in the offseason that shows me up.
Throw a puck out and it hits off somebody and goes in or something like that. And like you have every right to still stand by that shitting on there because he hasn't really truly done a lot.
He's never
actually created offense and
has he ever looked that way?
Guy that we're hoping for in this second line spot, but he has done a good enough job.
He's filled
in
the role.
Every sense, and he's tried his heart out, and it's working. Like that's the thing is that it doesn't look great, but it is working. Like I can't say I am disappointed at all in this team because they tend to disappoint me for a little bit, and then Bergeron goes out and scores 4 goals, and the next week they're really good again. So I still believe in this team. I think like they're 8-5, man. Like no overtime losses. Like
they're definitely not doing bad. They're not doing bad at all.
I like how they've been playing. Like their depth. Their defense is awesome. I think I talked about it in another podcast, the last one or something. Like Forbert's just
he's
Boston
so good.
Bruin now.
Yeah, he fits.
Their third line is way better than I think it's been in other times just because of it's just a different dynamic of it. It's been a little more defensive with Coyle down there,
Foligno,
stuff like that.
Foligno's looking good.
And now they have and now they have Foligno and Eric Holla, and that's looking pretty.
It's not bad.
Looks like they're having some fun down there. So it's a little bit of a different dynamic, but.
And you didn't even bring up the most important player probably on this team, and in them doing good Charlie McAvoy. He has been Norris level. If he is probably gonna be the most underrated Norris level defenseman in the league because he's never going to get the votes for what he does because he's not going to score 60 points in 70 games. He's going to score 40, but he's going to be the most sound defensively and knock everyone on their ass.
You might even get more than 40 this year. We'll see how this all shakes down as it goes on. But like I said from our predictions, like I would not be surprised for this guy to be up in the top 5 of Norris votes this year if he has a stellar year, and it's really starting off good. So best of luck to him to actually
Yeah.
pull this off, because like who thought Fox or Nurse were going to be that high in the voting, and here we are today.
They also score better is the issue, and that's the problem with the Norris Trophy is it's a scoring title.
A ridiculous offense to score with.
I'm not discrediting. I'm more discrediting them for being always picked. I think the Norris Trophy is stupid. Like we talked about the other week with the awards and how they should add new awards. The first one should be a defensive defenseman award of some sort. Every time. It should be the Nick Lindstrom Award or something like that. The one who is most important to their team defensively. Because then players like Slavin and McAvoy are going to finally be noticed for their value.
Yeah.
It's just
like, dude, McAvoy's got 3 goals and 9 assists, man. 2 goals, 4 assists on the power play. Like, holy
He's
crap.
been really good right now. And that's why I'm saying he's typically a 40-point guy.
I'm less worried about this team. This team's unreal. Holy crap, are they getting points? Like,
Jordan, what are your thoughts on this Bruins team?
For me, this team I like the direction, right? They're kind of going to the grit that they need to go to.
Yeah, no, fair enough. I don't disagree. Now, the big question is, so right now, in the first in the Atlantic is Florida, second is Toronto, third is Tampa. Does Boston crack the top 3? Can they beat out any of those 3 teams? So that's the first question I have with this Boston team, because I like this team. I think they're a good team. I think Marchand's incredible. He's having another great year. Bergeron does what he always does. He's always sound defensively when he's not scoring, and then eventually finds the net. McAvoy at Norris level. Complain at him and he'll be fine. Now, are they a top 3 team in the Atlantic?
I put them there at the start of the year, but like Toronto really just threw away the whole start of the season.
Yeah, they did.
Really went off to a run here. 8-2 in the last 10. It's so weird. Like the whole world revolved around these guys when they were losing, but they're 8-10. I haven't heard a flipping thing about it.
Want to know a crazy stat? Want to hear a crazy stat about the Leafs I found out last night? The Leafs are 2 points away from being first in the NHL.
Yeah, media
2 points
completely,
and
when they do that.
And people were saying how I was a little in that boat too, because the way they were playing and the way Marner was playing was like, oh shit, if this continues, like throw the year away. But I knew not to be too worried because they have Matthews and Marner, who are the 2 of the best regular season players of all in the NHL by a mile. Like the only ones better are McDavid and Draisaitl, right? So but like that's crazy that they're 6th in the NHL and 2 points away from being first, and we were talking about them like they were gonna be nothing. So back to the question of Boston being top 3.
I don't know. I think I might pull them out. I'm not really sure right now. Like,
okay, so for argument's sake, let's say you don't have them.
I'd probably pull them out and put them in the wild card.
All right, Jordan. Jordan, do you have them in top 3 over Florida, Tampa, or Toronto?
If they do, it's a low wild card.
So you don't have them in top 3? No? Okay. Now that's what brings me to the second question. Are they better than the top 5 in the Metro? Whoever the top 5 is. Whoever your top 5 in your mind is, whether it's Carolina, Washington, New York, Philly Islanders, or if it's Carolina, Washington, New York, Pittsburgh, Philly, whatever it is. Are they better than that 5th team at least?
Are they better than the 5th team in the Metro?
At least. Do they?
Yeah.
Okay. That was a question, because this Metro is so good where it's hard not to pick 5 teams from the Metro making the playoffs. That was the argument I'm just trying to make. one of these teams in the East, at least, probably 2 or 3 good teams are missing playoffs.
Mhm.
And we talk about how good Boston's been. Do you think the Islanders are going to make it now with Boston on their heels? Because right now, who are probably penciled in? Carolina, Washington, and the Metro?
Yeah, that's what.
And then who are your other 2 teams then? The Rangers and Islanders, Rangers and Philly, Rangers and Pittsburgh, Islanders.
The ones that I had in were Pittsburgh and the Islanders, and then Boston making playoffs in the wild card.
Right. So that means you have the Rangers missing.
Yeah.
Right now. Do you still think that this is just something I'm bringing up? It's so tight, and I know it doesn't matter now because it's only going to matter when it's a game 70 and there's 10 to 12 games left. That's when it's going to matter and when it's close. I understand that. But we got to realistically look at some of these teams as turning the corner and turning into a rebuild. Who are going to miss?
Honestly, I more think like Boston's better than like not Carolina. They're not better than Carolina, but past that, I'd say they match up quite well with like Washington. And then after that, I'd almost say
I would argue in a playoff series, I would give Boston the edge in a playoff series, but I wouldn't in the regular season. I would never give. I wonder if I put Washington as top 3 in the NHL for regular season teams. With Carolina and like Florida right now. So it's just something I was curious because someone's gonna have to miss that we all like a team that we think is Purdue. Yeah, look how well New Jersey's doing too. New Jersey's been incredible.
This at the start of the season, exactly, man. This Metro, somebody's gonna be real mad at the end of the year.
Very mad. Very mad.
Two might be mad because, like I said, I think Boston will. I love those 4 Atlantic teams. Like, I think they're very good. And when it comes to the Metro, I don't think they're literally as good, but I think they're all like very competitive to that type of team that's as good as it is. You know, like I don't think the Metro is better, but they have more teams that are better. So
yes, it's a closer contest.
So to me, I think the 4 in the Atlantic, I think they will make the playoffs. I believe Boston will because I think they will eat up enough wins and get those extra few points. And the Metro is going to get that few less points, even though, I said, it's going to be crazy to see like a Rangers, Philly, or even Pittsburgh
Islanders
kicking the boot, but.
And Boston are in that fold too. To miss, the Rangers are still in that fold. Like we said, still early that they all can miss. Toronto, I would not say is out of the gate yet. They're not completely safe.
Team I almost put in the wild card. Like I almost. Actually, no, I think I do. I think in my actual thing, I have Boston in the top 3, and Toronto's in the wild card. I don't. Remember.
Toronto.
I'll take a look.
Toronto has some serious problems too, though. Like, I know they're performing well. They're 8-2 in their past 10. Jack Campbell's been outstanding. That's one of the reasons
I did have
why.
Toronto on the 4th spot.
But there is still some serious issues in Toronto to deal with. They probably need another top 4 D-man to really help their case, and they definitely need a top 6. They need.
Brody and Muzzin. I'm not a huge fan of those guys. I want somebody.
Do you not like them individually, or do you not like them together?
Individually.
Interesting that you say that about Muzzin, because I disagree wholeheartedly with Muzzin. Brody, I understand where you're coming from with Brody, because Brody's one of those D-man who will irritate you with a lot of stuff, but he is probably the best defenseman in the NHL at 2-on-1s. And Toronto need that. I have never seen a D-man break up so many 2-on-1s than TJ Brody in a Leafs jersey. Like, he's always in the lane and does it so well.
They cost a lot of money for what they do.
Yes.
What I think.
Yeah,
I think they cost a little bit too much for what they actually.
I think we can all agree.
Coleman can do that for you, dog.
Not with TJ Brody. This is one thing I'll give TJ Brody props for, that he is just so good on 2-on-1s and reading whether they're going to pass or make a play. And I mean, I get Jack Campbell's a big help with that too. He's got to make the save, but
yeah, and it's not that I don't like Muzzin. Like, I'm not trying to shit on Muzzin. I
don't believe you
I
are.
would rather have two different defensemen. Like, yeah, I would rather have two different guys than those two guys.
See, and I think more their problem is they have two of the same left-handed defensemen in Sandin and Riley, and they're going to have to do something along the future with that. And they gave Morgan Riley the money, so we know it's who's probably out the door eventually. Or they're going to play them both and be a defensive liability for another 10 years. We can all agree this team isn't constructed well. This Leafs team, and money is not handed out in the way we would personally have done it. Everyone argues about that every week on Toronto Sports News. So, let's move to Jordan's injury corner and get that done before we finish the podcast here. So, Jordan, I will throw it to you, and you can get the injury corner going.
So to start with, Luke Shen has injured his knee. He will likely be out for a few weeks. Peter Mrazek is out at least 4 weeks with a groin injury.
Again.
Yep, always the groin with Mrazek.
Yep.
An interesting one. Patrick Laine is out 4 to 6 weeks with an oblique strain.
Yeah.
I had to look up. Apparently, that's the muscles like going vertically around your abs.
Yeah. I remember talking about this and saying Laine was benched in the last minute, and saying you can take the Tortorella out of Columbus, but you can't take the, or you can take him personally out, but his style's still there. But it turned out he was injured. That's why he was benched. So. That clears up everything.
Makes a bit more sense. Anthony Mantha has had successful surgery on his shoulder. However, there isn't a timeline yet.
Yeah, it's probably playoffs, isn't it? I imagine.
Yeah, I'd imagine.
That sucks. Give him a first, don't even get to use him.
Yep. Oh, well, it's not like we need him in the regular season, right?
Yeah, true. He won't name in the playoffs. He'll be a first-round exit again.
Brett Pesce is injured. There isn't any info on the injury, however. He's considered week to week.
That's not awful week to week. I love Brett Pesce, though.
Mm-hmm.
I did see him block.
Slavin's really been stepping up. Played like 30 minutes that one game against like Tampa or something.
Yeah.
I don't remember which game that was, but yeah.
And while we're on the Slavin topic, can we bring up a crazy stat that never doesn't get talked about enough? The fact that Jacob Slavin last year averaged like 22 minutes a night in a shutdown role against the best players in the league, or in their division, I guess, and got one penalty. And that penalty, do you know what that penalty was for? Puck over the glass.
Yeah, I was going to
say. The stupidest call in hockey. Well, not the stupidest.
What do you mean, smartest call in hockey?
I don't know. I hate and I love the rule, but I don't want to get into why, because there's no reasonings. It's a stupid rule, but it's a good rule to avoid certain things. But that's how crazy is that? That he's against the best lines in the division and got one penalty, and it wasn't even for a stick infraction, roughing anything. Shows how good. How good.
Defenseman. Way better.
He is the most underrated defenseman in the NHL.
Mm-hmm.
He is, without question. So I just want to bring that up. That stat's insane. So Jordan, you can continue with the injury corner.
Miles Wood undergoes successful hip surgery. There isn't a timeline yet, however.
Yeah, that's a player I wonder if the Devils move just to get like great assets.
Yeah,
that's a player I wonder if they don't want to move, but a lot of teams will pay up the ass for because of the type of player he is. But
Eric Brandstrom has broken his hand. At least 2 months recovery time.
Yeah, that's tough. That's tough. Yeah, 68 weeks I saw. He just can't catch a break, and he can't seem to get in the lineup, and Ottawa is really rough right now. Oh, I feel so bad for Ottawa.
Nathan McKinnon is out for at least 3 weeks with a lower body injury.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. There goes my Hart Trophy candidate.
But he'll come back the same. We all know.
Oh yeah, he's the second best player in the league.
Yeah. The Bagel, Brandon Hagel, will miss around 2 weeks with a shoulder injury.
Yeah.
Very big blow for Chicago.
Yeah, their only shutdown player they've ever had in the past 5 years.
Another depth issue for Chicago. Mackenzie Entwistle is out 4 to 6 weeks with an ankle injury.
He was doing really good, too.
Yeah.
Pretty sure he's playing on the top line. He was playing McCain a little bit. Yeah, I saw a couple games. He's playing McCain and Taves a little bit. And not both of them, but separately.
I got an injury update from that team, too. Adam Gaudette's got hurt feelings, not playing top minutes.
That's everywhere he goes. Everywhere.
Troy Stetcher is considered week to week with an undisclosed injury. All I know is it may require surgery if it doesn't heal properly. So that's probably good news.
Yeah, probably. I mean, I wouldn't know if it's an undisclosed injury, so can't really talk about it if we don't know anything about it.
One that a lot of news is coming out today. Sammy Bly is out for the rest of the season.
Oh shit! I didn't know that.
Last night, and it has revealed an ACL tear. So he's gonna have to have surgery in a few weeks.
What a not tough guy, hey? Like, to be a
got him for meat and taters.
Built different.
Yeah, built different. Built injured.
Another tough injury. Shane Pinto is out for the season. After
it's a season?
I
didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah. He came back from injuring his shoulder, played a single game, injured that same shoulder again, and now it's a whole
off
season.
of a face-off, too. It was a face-off that I don't even think they dropped the puck. I don't even know if they dropped the puck on it. It might have been like that stupid thing that linesmen do where they fake drop it to make people lunge. It's like, you're out, get out. It's like, fuck off, drop the damn puck. But yeah, no, that's unfortunate. I love Shane Pinto's game, and one thing I'll say with Pinto, I wonder if he needs to play another full season in the AHL and build up muscle. I don't think he's big enough. And that shouldn't be the case anymore, but with how many injuries he's had and we're 15 games in, that's not good. That's not a good sign at all. He needs to get bigger and stronger and to move forward.
Another re-aggravation of injury. We've got Ryan Ellis. He's considered week to week after a lower body injury that he'd just come back.
Yeah, Philly can't afford to lose him. He's like, they can't. Their defense is so bad without him in it.
Yep. JT
old Lemon
about a month.
Lemonland.
Yeah, Lemonland. Sorry, JT Miller is outlawed.
No, JT
Comfer. Oh, shit.
Oh, yeah.
Another good Avalanche gone. Jesus Christ.
A month with an upper body.
Somebody's got to be out of the lineup. I think they had like 2 games there where they had Byram. Byram hasn't played the last game or 2. Maybe they haven't had a full game yet.
Didn't he get hit in the face, Byram? Is that why he's out?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, no, it's just crazy. This team hasn't had one fully healthy roster, I don't think, all year. This is crazy.
One of the few teams.
Yeah.
Especially that guy. That guy he's been
the best player right now. Yeah, he's been so good. They really needed him to step up, and he did, so that's unfortunate.
This actually might be good. This actually might be really good for this team. Like, this guy's been carrying the load somehow.
It'll force other guys to do shit, yeah. Tyson
exactly.
Jost, you're up. Like, you need to do something, or else he's out.
Well, I guess you can't really ask Kadri to do much more.
When the refs are against him and I feel bad for Kadri.
I feel bad for him because like nobody
likes him.
And this year I haven't heard much about him, and like we really haven't talked about. I know I brought him up a few times, but like, geez, man, like You're just the only one on the team left.
Yeah. Can we talk about how Kadri's the most hated player in the NHL because he was drafted by the Maple Leafs?
Yeah, and the fact that they wouldn't have won a game this year if they didn't have him.
Yeah, he's awesome. I love Kadri. I think he's so good. I think refs do him dirty all the time. Like,
nobody think that I like Crosby that much, though. Please, I'm not you. I don't like him that much.
I love Kadri. I think he's a great middle six guy for what you need.
The last injury we have is Philip Hedl, just a week with an upper body, so that's not too bad.
That's nothing then. Another one, but not really an injury. Successful surgery we can talk about. Let's talk about Jack Eichel. And he just finished his disc replacement surgery in Michigan. It was a complete success. He walked out of the hospital after. So he waited 8 months to get a surgery that took an hour. And he walked
an hour
and could have walked home. He could have walked home and been fine. Man. That's all it took.
Like, I heard it was supposed to be 45 minutes. Like, that 15 minutes, what's going on, man? Are you worried? I'm worried.
Can't do the surgery. Can't do it. 15 minutes too long. We can't charge 15 minutes extra for a doctor.
Yeah, how much recovery is it going to be for that extra 15 minutes on that table, bud? Huh?
Yeah. And
getting scared?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And the news is, the doctor who did the surgery says that the disc was a complete mess. Not surprising. I mean, he was injured with it. I think we knew it was a mess. He feels so much better, and they're leaning towards early 3 months of him returning. They think it'll be earlier than projected. However,
going to the Olympics,
man. With the Olympics,
God, I hope he goes. I want to fucking see
I'm hearing
that U.S. team without him.
The thing is, the U.S. team is being announced. I heard January 11th or 12th. So that's something to keep in mind, and he won't be like ready to even skate until the beginning of February. Or sorry, not skate. Sorry, he'll be skating in 3 weeks, but like be allowed to play. And I wonder if Vegas don't let him because they gave up all these assets and don't want him to get hurt from it by coming back too early. That's my biggest fear not with the Eichel going. I'm not worried he's going to get injured like this again. I've done lots of reading and heard lots of interviews and doctors and stuff that have explain this surgery, and I'm all for it. I think it's going to be fine, but I don't like players being rushed back and then something else happening, or especially when he's never played a game for this new team. This is such a different situation. Now,
like in all reality, if I was a GM, I probably would.
Yeah, if I was a GM, I would say you're not going to the Olympics. I traded all this away from you. We need you to come back and learn how to play with the team and just train.
But honestly, the other side of me, the actual person, would 100% say, like,
yes,
if your goal is to get healthy enough to play in the Olympics, you'd go, buddy. Just go. Do you? Because like if that this means way more to you than it does to me. You know?
It's one of those things that I wonder.
Like, I fully agree. I don't think they will play him, and I probably won't, and they probably wouldn't do that. But like, I don't want to see this team without him there, and I don't want to see him not be there because of this stupid situation.
No,
100% penciling him in because you got to be there.
I want him there bad.
This can't happen like this, you know. If he's not going because of this, because of Kevin Adams, an American, I'll like.
Can I say, like, what if there's would this be allowed? What if Vegas sent? Now they'd probably have to pay for it themselves. Keep all this in mind. What if Vegas was allowed, or Eichel was allowed to bring along a trainer from Vegas or a doctor of some sort? To, if he goes to the Olympics, let's say he's healthy enough to play for the first game. Let's say that's his timeline.
His physician or something.
What if he brings his physician that is a Vegas employee that can say you're good to play, you're not okay to play. That knows the limit, that knows what's too far, that knows when to pull him. I wonder if you can do that, and if this is one of those scenarios that you kind of just let happen, or
I think
as a team,
I
or like US, bring him as a trainer. You can always find an excuse for a doctor, someone who knows the game, to come in.
Exactly.
Or
you would think so.
You would like guarantees. So I don't. That's where I look at and say maybe you can do some weird mess around there to try to get him there, just to get him there.
And I think they can take the sacrifice in picking him. I think they can because
I agree with that.
I think their defense is stacked enough where it'd almost be better to play 7 guys. Like if you get your injuries and you get stuck in a situation where all of a sudden you have one less forward or something like that, you got 2 injuries or something, and Eichel's not playing, so you're literally missing a forward. It wouldn't be the worst thing to play a 7th D-man. Like you got unloaded defense. Like if we're talking, you're playing Krug or Hughes or somebody like
Hughes,
or Jeff Jones. Like this, like these
That's
are
a good D-man.
You know, so I think it's something that they can risk. It's just whether like they want to, you know, like that's the real question.
Yeah.
Does the American team want to risk it? I don't see like I said, I don't see why they wouldn't, because how many...
I'm just trying to put myself in their shoes.
Have a healthy extra guy for sure.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think in Canada's shoes where, let's say, because Eichel not going is probably like saying, what, McKinnon not
Crosby
going?
Or McKinnon or...
Probably McKinnon being the second best forward, arguably. Would you risk...
I guess what doesn't matter. But yeah.
Yeah, like, I think you take the risk. Eichel's not some random player that you don't take the risk on taking. He's not some random good top 6 winger. He's
and as a Canadian,
a top center.
To the Olympics, if anybody in any other country feels the same as we do about the Olympic hockey, then like 100% you're taking this guy, because in my eyes, if McKinnon is coming back and healthy now, just hasn't been playing, but he's healthy in that time frame, I'm putting him on my team.
I'm taking McKinnon every day. Yep. Yeah, every day.
If he doesn't play a game, I'm dealing with the fact that I'll have to play 7 D-men or something, or if all my forwards
it's worth the risk of him playing and being the best player in the tournament on the ice, potentially. 100%. I agree. I really hope he goes. I really do. And another reason I want him to go is because I want him to look into Kevin Adams' eyes and say, "You motherfucker, I just wanted gold with US. After getting the surgery, you said no. After you guys giving up on me, and now I'm where I want to be and doing what I want. So fuck you." That's exactly what I want to hear, as Eichel say, because you know he's never going to say it, obviously, but you know he's thinking that if he wins.
Well, he almost did. But
he almost did.
Like after once he got traded, he said if they didn't trade him, like
if they didn't trade him a week, yeah. And
like, literally, he said, "I would be saying a lot different things tomorrow."
Yes,
if we were having this conversation. It's
yes, like, absolutely.
Fuck, like, my God,
we know his opinion on them. We know how he feels, and we know what he offered them. He offered them a great chance to get everything they wanted. He didn't ask for specifically a trade. He said, if we're going through a rebuild, I want a trade. Which is different in the sense of, he said they wanted to use himself to jumpstart their rebuild too. And he also said he would come back and play for Buffalo if he just let him get healthy. Let them raise his stock and he can get them more assets. Imagine if they did the surgery and he played the start of this year for Buffalo. And then was traded today, let's say. You think Buffalo probably could have gotten more if he was playing to start the season, was fully healthy. Yeah. And they would have more options. It wouldn't be just Vegas and Calgary and like Carolina who are in the mix. Mm-hmm. I guarantee every other team is calling and saying, we're doing everything we can to get Eichel if he's healthy and available. So... no, I really hope he goes. I hope he shows him up. If Pittsburgh don't win, I'm rooting for Vegas this year and Eichel to win the cup. I've never wanted a player to win a cup more, to just just as a middle finger to the previous team who ruined him or tried to.
Yeah, man. Like, I'll say it again. Like, the guys from the States, Kevin Adams' national team would be the United States, and he did this. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
This conversation like, we have about U.S.
Literally waited until Eichel said, "I will shit on your franchise."
Yeah.
Like, I will make your franchise look like shit. Your organization, though it does already, but like
he's successful.
I can add on to this, man. If you don't trade me right now.
Yep, absolutely.
Well, finally took it. Hey,
like, they did it, and it's
brutal.
It's brutal.
So brutal.
So brutal. And no, you just know that if this was a Canadian player and a Canadian GM, they would have figured it out. I sound like Don Cherry there. That sounds really bad the way I put it. Like, but you know what I mean. Like, we care so much about our international hockey that we wouldn't allow a player to miss like the U.S. just did. I get it. It's
put him in a situation where it's possible for him not to go. Like, it's very possible.
They put
not to play. Why would you put him in a situation where for a fucking good chance he's not playing?
Why would you do that? Yeah, I agree. I understand, I guess, where Buffalo's trying to come across, but in this scenario, they just come across as assholes. They come across as the bully or the whiny rich owner who didn't get his way. It's exactly how they come across, and everyone thinks it and everyone knows it. So, no, I hope Eichel really proves them all wrong and is better than they could have ever hoped in Buffalo, because they have shit on him from the day they drafted him because his name isn't McDavid. Because his name isn't Connor McDavid, that's why they've hated him the whole time, Buffalo. So Vegas will respect him. They already have, so. Yeah. Anyways, that's it for this week's podcast. We'll catch you guys next week. Go follow our social medias on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube at the Couch on Ice. Eventually, Chase and I are going to put stuff out.
We actually got a couple of new followers on old Twit dog. It was decent, the old Buffalo Sports Talk Radio. Thanks for the follow.
Hell yeah.
And Robbie Couch. Welcome to the Couch on Ice, boys.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Welcome to the Couch on Ice, and keep bringing in more followers and listen, because then we'll be able to get more awesome stuff on here and keep working on doing better. But for now, we'll see you guys on Friday. You guys have a good week.